Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Terrified Savannah Chrisley projectile vomits mid-air. Savannah Chrisley is among the 14 cast members competing on Season 2 of Fox's Special Forces. World's Toughest Test. A teaser clip reveals things become so terrifying for the Chrisley Knows Best star that she hurls in the middle of a challenge. What is she doing in the clip that made her vomit mid-air? Keep reading for the details. Or scroll down to check out the clip. Why did she go on this show? In an earlier interview, Savannah Chrisley told People magazine she decided to join Season 2 of Fox's Special Forces. World's Toughest Test because of her parents. More specifically, she felt like it would be a way for her to connect with them. Furthermore, her life was already pretty hard, so she didn't think it could get much harder. Savannah also explained on her podcast that she's taking a yes approach to life, where she is saying yes to opportunities instead of no. She explained she doesn't want to find herself in a situation where she regrets not giving something a chance later. Terrified Savannah Chrisley projectile vomits mid-air. Per an exclusive clip shared by People magazine, Savannah Chrisley becomes so terrified while rappelling down a 330-foot wall that she projectile vomits in mid-air. The clip watches Savannah Chrisley look over the wall before she stumbles and starts to climb down. The Chrisley Knows Best star can be heard shouting "Osh!" teat as she goes over the edge. A little bit of drool can be seen dripping from her lips. She shouts she needs to get out. The drill sergeant can be heard shouting back at Savannah that the only way to get out is to climb down the wall. As Savannah continues to panic, the drill sergeant urges her to compose herself. Becoming so overwhelmed with fear and terror, Savannah Chrisley projectile vomits while she's mid-air. Some of her co-stars look up at her with concern. One calls attention to the fact that she became so afraid she threw up. Savannah Chrisley had always considered herself a pretty seasoned traveler. From coast-to-coast press tours for Chrisley Knows Best to quick jaunts for her podcast tapings, she'd seen her fair share of first-class cabins and airport lounges. But this flight, this particular nightmare at 35,000 feet, was something she'd never forget. The day had started like any other. Savannah, chic in her cream sweater and oversized sunglasses, breezed into the Nashville airport with her iced coffee in hand. She'd been up late recording her latest podcast episode, one that had her nervously discussing the recent whirlwind of rumors swirling around her family. But she'd pushed the drama aside that morning. She was headed to Los Angeles for a TV appearance, and nothing was going to ruin her mood. Nothing, that is, until she boarded the plane. It wasn't turbulence that set her stomach spiraling, it was dread. Just minutes after takeoff, a pocket of unexpected chop hit the aircraft, rattling the cabin and making a small child shriek in terror. Savannah clutched her seat's armrests, her trademark confidence replaced by an unsettling tremor in her hands. She tried to distract herself by scrolling through Instagram, but even the light from her phone seemed too bright. Her seatmate, a sweet elderly woman with knitting needles in her lap, noticed her pale complexion. "Honey, are you all right?" the woman asked in a gentle southern drawl. Savannah tried to force a smile. "Oh, I'm fine, just not a fan of flying." But the truth was darker than that. She had a growing fear of confined spaces lately, a side effect of all the stress surrounding her parents' prison sentences and the chaos of public life. Trapped in this pressurized metal tube, thousands of feet above the ground, it felt like every nerve in her body was on high alert. The seatbelt sign dinged off, and passengers began moving about. Savannah decided she'd be fine if she could just breathe, maybe grab a ginger ale from the flight attendant. But as the minutes passed, the plane hit another rough patch, sending her body lurching forward. And that's when it happened. The wave of nausea wasn't gradual. It slammed into her like a freight train. Her eyes widened, her hands flew to her mouth, but there was no stopping it. In a split second of horror, Savannah projectile vomited with alarming velocity, the kind of mid-air eruption usually reserved for bad comedy films, jerking her knitting project away just in time. The sound alone turned heads across the cabin. A businessman 2 rows up froze mid-email, his jaw dropping. A teenager in a hoodie laughed uncontrollably until he realized he was in the splash zone. It wasn't just a little mess. Savannah had the misfortune of an impressive aim. Across her lap, the seat back in front of her, and tragically, a small arc that landed in the aisle where a passing flight attendant froze mid-step. "Oh Lord," Savannah gasped between coughs, her voice breaking. "I'm so sorry, I didn't mean." The elderly seatmate, ever the Southern lady, simply handed her a wad of tissues. "Darlin', don't you worry. It happens to the best of us. You just made my flight a lot more memorable." Savannah's cheeks burned crimson. She fumbled for the small blue air sickness bag that now seemed utterly useless given the scope of the disaster. Flight attendants sprang into action, producing an arsenal of paper towels, disinfectant wipes, and, humiliatingly, several blankets to cover the collateral damage. She could hear whispers ripple through the cabin. "Is that the girl from Chrisley knows best?" "Yeah, I think it is." "Oh my God," she just shed. "Don't stare." Savannah buried her face in her hands, wishing for a trapdoor to open under her seat and swallow her whole. Not even her family's most embarrassing reality TV moments had prepared her for this level of public mortification. To make matters worse, the plane still had over 3 hours to go before landing in Los Angeles. She couldn't hide in the bathroom for that long, though she considered it. Instead, she sipped ginger ale and stared out the window, trying not to make eye contact with anyone. The crew was kind enough to move her to an empty seat in the back after the cleanup, where she sat in solitude, feeling like a chastened child. The low hum of the engines was oddly soothing now, her adrenaline crash leaving her drained. But Savannah being Savannah, she couldn't help but find some humor in the situation. Pulling out her phone, she snapped a quick selfie, pale-faced, hair slightly askew, eyes still watery. She typed out a caption for her Instagram story. "Note to self, never eat spicy tuna before a flight. #mile-high mortification." Within minutes, messages from friends flooded in, some expressing sympathy, others sending crying, laughing emojis. Even Chase Chrisley chimed in. "Sav, you've officially taken family embarrassment to new heights, literally." When the plane finally touched down, Savannah was the last to disembark, partly to avoid the pitying glances and partly because she wanted to savor the solid ground under her feet. The fresh California air never felt so good. Outside baggage claim, a paparazzi photographer who'd been tipped off about her arrival shouted, "Savannah, how was your flight?" She stopped in her tracks, smirking despite herself. "Let's just say, I made it memorable for everyone on board." The headline was inevitable. Savannah Chrisley's mid-air mishap has passengers talking splashed across entertainment blogs within hours. Comment sections were a mix of sympathy and schadenfreude, with some fans joking that it should be a subplot on the next season of Chrisley Knows Best. Savannah, ever the savvy media personality, decided to own the moment. That night, she hopped on Instagram Live, telling the full, unfiltered story to thousands of viewers. She reenacted the exact facial expression she made seconds before the eruption, had her followers laughing at her vivid retelling, and even took a poll. Should I fly again soon, or stick to road trips for life? By the end of the live stream, Savannah had managed to turn her humiliation into an oddly relatable moment. Everyone, after all, had a story of travel gone wrong. Hers just happened to come with a side of celebrity notoriety. As she curled up in her hotel bed later that night, exhaustion finally winning, she thought about how bizarre her life had become. Between family drama, constant public scrutiny, and now this, she realized there was no such thing as just another day when you were a Chrisley.